So today I'm going to be helping you beginners out with 10 of the easiest fish to keep in the entire aquarium hobby. There's obviously hundreds of different species in this hobby that are easy to keep. 10 is a list that's definitely not big enough to recognize all of these. Today I've compiled my 10 favorites that are hardy and that I recommend to beginners on a day-to-day basis in my aquarium store. Before this video begins, I want to say that all of these fish are super peaceful. You shouldn't run into any aggression issues with any of these fish. If you wanted to mix and match all of these together, it's going to be fine. So if you're a genuine beginner, never kept fish before, this is definitely the video for you. So the first fish in our list is going to be ember tetras. These are a pretty easy beginner fish for a lot of people. I quite like them because of their coloration. So they've got that, obviously being named ember, they have that ember sort of red color. These are a great little schooling fish. They can be a tiny bit flighty because, well, obviously because they're so tiny, they would naturally get picked off in the wild. So they like to hang around plants and they're sort of a mid-dwelling fish with a small mouth. So I recommend feeding them bug buffet. I crush it up in the water and it breaks up into tiny little particles and yeah, everyone gets a bite. They absolutely love it. They can be a little bit harder to keep for some people, especially if you have really hard water out of the tap. If you're new to the hobby, I'd recommend testing your tap water and just figuring out where it's at. Here in Brisbane, the tap water comes out pretty hard, but it does tend to soften over time and ember tetras seem to do pretty well in it. Most people's tap water is going to be absolutely fine. Because they are a schooling fish, I'd recommend keeping at least 5 to 10 of them together before buying them. Don't just buy 1 or 2, they're not going to behave properly. Honestly, at least a school of 10 in a 10 gallon is going to look amazing, especially if it's planted, it's just going to look so good. So number 10, ember tetras. By the way, this list is not in any order. Number 9 is going to be harlequin rasboras. So these are sort of similar to ember tetras. They are from a completely different part of the world, but again, very similar in their behavior. These are a little bit less of a schooling fish, more of a shoaling fish. I actually keep them in the fish room at the moment and I've bred them before. They weren't easy to breed, by the way. They are very easy to keep. I've never really run into any issues with disease or them just randomly dying. They seem to be something that I put in, and if I can keep them good for about a month, they're going to stay good for at least 2 years. They are good for a 10 gallon tank. I'd probably recommend them for 10 to 20 gallon tanks, and they definitely do better in groups of 5 to 10 at least. They're a mid-dwelling fish, so they're going to hang around in the middle of your tank. They're sometimes good for a dither fish if you've got lots of fish down the bottom that need friends up the top to make them feel safe. Harlequins are great. They've just got a really unique pattern, which I absolutely love. Unlike anything else you'll see in the hobby, and obviously because I keep them and breed them, I like them. So definitely something I recommend to beginners each week. Again, same as the ember tetras, a little bit more of a softer sort of water they do prefer. A lot of these fish on this list, in fact, are sort of medium to alkaline soft fish water. These aren't African cichlids, so if you've got some ridiculously high pH, high hardness water, I would definitely recommend getting African cichlids and not these fish. Number 8 is going to be our first algae eating, biofilm eating sort of fish, and this is going to be hillstream loaches. So I absolutely love hillstream loaches. If you can't get hillstream loaches, Borneo loaches are just as good. They're a little bit pricey at the moment. Like in store, I think we sell Borneo loaches for $40 each, and hillstream loaches are a little bit more expensive, like about $60 to $70 each, but they are totally worth it. They are such an interesting little fish. They stick onto rocks and they're from rivers and fast flowing rivers in the wild. I love them because they are really good for eating spot algae, and they also just help to clean up around the tank, but they're actually pretty bulletproof. A lot of people say they need high oxygenated, high clean water, and I have just not found this to be the case. Yes, they prefer high oxygenated, fast flowing water, but I've had them in aquariums and they're absolutely fine. In fact, while we were moving from my last store, you couldn't count the amount of hillstream loaches I found still inside of aquariums with about a centimeter of water that had been there for 3 weeks. It was insane. So very easy to take care of. They love bug buffet. Sprinkle the bug buffet in the tank, it smashes all around and on the rocks and stuff, and they go around and clean it up. I find that this is a fish that I definitely recommend as a cleanup crew. To be honest, besides the price tag, they're really, really easy fish to keep. I think the reason they're more expensive is the Borneo loaches are mostly wild caught, and the hillstream loaches while they are easy to breed, they take a long time to grow up. They're not super commercially viable, but I think over in the States, these fish are a lot more affordable, and I definitely recommend them to pretty much anyone's tank. Yeah, super good. Number 7 is maybe a little bit more of a controversial one, but it's probably the most iconic aquarium fish of all time, and this is going to be the neon tetra. I had to put these on the list. I have a massive school of them over here that I've actually bred myself. This fish is definitely easy. They can be a little bit sensitive just for the fact that they're produced in such massive quantities. So it's very important that if you're going to select neon tetras, that you try and find really good quality ones. Don't buy skinny, mangled, munted neon tetras from your local pet store or pet barn or whatever. I hate those places, by the way. Go to a local fish store, make sure they're really good quality, and pick up 5 to 10 at least, like your Ember tetras, like your Harlequin rasboras. These are a schooling fish. Good in a 10 gallon, good in a 20 gallon or bigger. Very easy to take care of. They love bug buffet, flake, granule, whatever. Just a varied range of foods is going to help them to grow and be happy. I do find people run into issues when they get bad quality neons, like they get neon tetra disease and things like that. A lot of these issues are going to be problems for any fish if you buy it bad quality. So you need to find somewhere that takes care of their fish and puts in the hard work to make sure you get a product that you're happy with. Neons are a great little fish. They're so colorful. They look good in planted tanks. They look good in river tanks, black water tanks. They do prefer softer water, I will say that, but I have kept them in moderate to, alkaline water, and they do just fine. I have had them live a long time. I've actually probably self-proclaimed got the largest neon tetras that exist in Australia at the moment. They don't get very big. Yeah, they're just a cool little dither fish or schooling fish for your tank, and definitely recommended for beginners because they're cheap and they're beautiful. Number 6 is just going to be Corydoras. Now, when I say Corydoras, there's a few different types that I mostly recommend. First being Aeneas, so your albino Corydoras or albinos, and your bronze Corydoras. Super bulletproof, super easy to take care of. They're just little water hogs. They go down the bottom of your tank. They're a bottom dweller. They definitely need a bottom dwelling food. A lot of people think this is a cleaning fish. It's going to clean up my tank. It will do that. It will clean your substrate, but it deserves more than just a few flakes that hit the bottom. I recommend feeding either bug buffet sunken down. They like green cuisine, surprisingly. We feed them micro pellets at the shop, things that just get to the bottom of the floor and they can actually eat. Some other honorable mentions for the Corydoras category have to be peppered cories, super easy. I'd even say pygmy cories are quite easy as well. Great for a little nano tank, not good if you have fish in there with big mouths, but Napoensis cories are quite nice as well. We like keeping them here in the fish room. Also, Sturbe cories are quite easy. Panda cories are quite easy. A lot of these fish under general beginner aquarium hobbyist care will do pretty good for you. So they're definitely worth mentioning. I recommend them to beginners all the time, people with their first tank. Corydoras, so good for helping clean up leftover food if you've fed just a little bit too much. Just an interesting little fish. Number 5 is going to be bristlenose plecos. Again, super easy. I wouldn't recommend keeping these in a tank that's smaller than 20 gallons really. If you've got a smaller tank, like a 10-gallon tank, and you're looking for something to help keep on top of algae, I'd recommend Otocinclus, or I would also recommend hillstream loaches and shrimp. But if you've got at least a 20-gallon tank, so 80 to 100 liters, one bristlenose is going to be awesome. They are so good at cleaning surface algae, so cleaning up the algae that grows on the glass, on the plants, on the ornaments. I think every single tank of mine has bristlenose in it, and they're actually really easy to breed. So there's all sorts of types you can get these days. It just depends on how much you want to spend. Your common bristlenose is going to set you back about $10, and some of the rarer varieties might be 30 to 40, like your super reds, your blue-eyed lemon plecos, your peppermint bristlenose. I definitely recommend bristlenose pretty much for everyone's community aquarium just to help with that cleanup, and they are easy. I have had issues where if you buy like a dud bristlenose with a sunken in belly, they don't normally do good, but a nice, healthy, local bred bristlenose is going to be so hardy. So yeah, they're definitely worth a mention on the list. Number 4 is going to be platies. Platies are an all-time favorite of mine. They were in my first ever fish tank. I love the colors that you can get. They are a live bearer. So they're a little bit different from the other fish that we've mentioned on this list. They're our first live bearer. So these guys will actually give birth to live babies. If you want the live babies to survive, you'll need hiding spaces in the tank for the babies to escape, because what normally happens is a female will give birth to live babies and she'll just turn around and eat them straight away. These are very prolific breeders under the right circumstances. I think females can have babies every single month and they can have like 20 to 50. They are a super colorful, easy to keep fish. Every fish store has them. They're like $7.95 in my store for just your basic assorted platy. Again, finding good quality ones that aren't infected with internal parasites and things like that is very important. They'll eat anything. They're just honestly one of the easiest things ever. They're actually, in fact, so easy to take care of that they become invasive, especially up in northern parts of Australia. Like, they're found in creeks and stuff because they're just so good at breeding and so good at surviving. So these actually prefer a little bit of harder water. So if you do have a little bit harder water out of your tap, they are a nice little option for you. But yeah, they have to be mentioned. They are just so easy. And I didn't want to put this fish on the list as well, but swordtails, they're also worth a mention. They're pretty much the exact same thing. Males just look a little bit different. Number 3 is another live bearer. This is guppies. This is a very broad category, but guppies were the first fish I ever kept. I have run into issues keeping guppies, especially when it comes to like internal parasites and things like that. I just find they are susceptible to it. These are a fish that's not very long lived. So guppies are probably going to be good for about a year to 2 years at most. They are prolific breeders. I'd recommend, if you're a beginner getting into guppies, to get 1 male, 2 females, and just start off with that, and then add to it as you go to the local fish store if you want to, or just leave it and let them breed, because if you've got hiding spaces in your tank, they are going to breed like crazy. Kids absolutely love them. They're full of color. Males have all the color, unfortunately, and the females normally look a little bit less good than the males. Guppies have to be on this list. And another one that's in there with the guppies is endlers. I'm going to put these guys under the same category because I don't want to waste your time. These are all easy live bearers that I would recommend to any beginner. Of course, if you're interested in these fish, do your own research, but they have to be on here. These last 2 fish are just genuine, like, bulletproof fish. Like, if you're going to war, you'd want these guys on the front line, making sure that things are taken care of because they're just so easy. Number 2 on the list is zebradanios. Zebradanios were one of the first fish I ever bred intentionally. They are super easy to take care of. They're more of a top-dwelling, fast-swimming fish. They're chaotic, so they're going to run around the tank in big schools. And to be honest, you'd probably be fine with 1 or 2 of them. I don't recommend it. I recommend at least 5 or 10 because they just look heaps better. But they'll swim around your tank like frantic. They're really hard to catch because they're so quick, and they just have an awesome pattern. Now, you can get leopard danios, you can get all sorts of different types of danios as well. I'm just going to say the zebra danio for ease. They are so easy, and definitely one of the bulletproof ones on this list. That brings us to number 1 on this list, and for this list I decided that it was going to be white cloud minnows. So these are a fish that can do pretty much all year outside, unless you get like complete freeze overs, which I think they might even survive. Chinese white cloud minnows are so easy to take care of, so easy to breed. I've got a video of breeding these in a bucket. Unbelievably easy to take care of. Another schooling fish, top dwelling sort of one. They love bug buffet. They love pretty much anything they can get their hands on. They'll lay eggs every single day for you. If you've got enough cover in your tank and not too many predators, you probably will get babies appearing in your tank because they are just so easy to breed. They come in all sorts of colors. I've seen them albino. I've seen just normal white clouds, and there's gold white clouds. They are definitely a really easy fish. Great for ponds outside to keep mosquito larvae down. Great for your first ever tank. You can put them in a 10-gallon tank. You can put them in a 20-gallon tank. Super easy. And that brings us to the end of the list. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. If you're interested, down below, check out our bug buffet. It's one of the best foods that I've ever fed. I absolutely love the stuff. Check out our store if you're in Brisbane, and I'll see you guys in the next video.